Welcome to the most comprehensive voice AI agent masterclass with n8n and ElevenLabs. I'm going to take you from absolute beginner to a pro voice AI agent builder by the end of this video. This is designed for somebody who has never built anything with AI or voice AI agents. I'm going to start you off with explaining the absolute basics of how voice AI agent works with ElevenLabs, and then I'm going to go ahead and show you how to connect your voice AI agent from ElevenLabs to your n8n, and then we're going to go ahead and build 3 different voice AI agents from a very beginner friendly all the way to an advanced voice AI agent. Stick around till the end of the video because I'll also show you how you can get certified and start selling voice AI agents to your customers. All right, without wasting too much of your time, let's jump right into the video. Hey guys, so this is going to be the first video on this deep dive series that I'm going to be doing on building voice AI agents. We're going to utilize ElevenLabs n8n as a backend to retrieve information and build really powerful voice AI agents. The first thing I'm going to do in this video, I'm going to just quickly give you an introduction of the platform itself, what the voice agent is from ElevenLabs, and then the different areas and the different functionalities that's available. And then in the upcoming videos, we're going to keep building on top of this, where we'll start with a very simple workflow that will communicate between ElevenLabs and n8n in the backend. So let's get started. First of all, this is what the agent looks like. This is going to be an embedded widget that's going to be on websites. And then also we'll in the future talk about how we can utilize Twilio to build a voice agent for calls as well. But for this particular series, we're going to start by just looking at the widget that you can embed in a website. So the first thing you need to do, you need to head over to ElevenLabs.io. If you're not familiar with the platform, you will create a account. And once you create an account, again, there's several options available for pricing. You have a free tier, but I would suggest starting with the starter or the creator. This is probably a really good deal right now because they give you the first month 50% off, and you'll have plenty of credits to play around with. And also if you want to clone your voice or somebody else's voice, you can use this and it'll be really high quality. Again, this is the monthly. If you toggle here on the yearly, you get 2 months free. But like I said, you know, if you're just getting started, choose one of these two and it'll be good to go. All right. So once you're done, then you can click on go to app. So let me go back to my other, and then once you go to app, let me come here, ElevenLabs. So once you're logged in, you're going to end up here. So now what you will do is come over to agents right here on the left hand side. You'll click on the agents, and on the bottom, this is where you'll see your credits that are remaining. So on the agents, once you come here, this is the blank screen that you will see as far as there's no AI agent selected. Obviously, I've built a bunch here because I've been testing this for the past several days, but yours is going to look blank. So you will click on this plus button, or right here, you can just click on create an agent. So once you do that, you have to name your agent, and there's several options available as far as the existing agents that they have. So there's support agent, math tutor agent, video game character agent, and these are just kind of pre-built, meaning that they have already selected LLMs. They have a few system prompts, and we'll explore that in a little bit. But if you wanted to start from scratch, you can click on blank template, and then that way you can customize it fully. And that's what we're going to do moving forward. But for this one, just to showcase the different optionalities here, we're just going to click on support agent, and we're going to name this agent. So we're just going to say test support for now. And you're going to click on create agent. So you will select the support agent, click on create agent, and then this will generate this kind of free template or initial template for this agent itself. So just to kind of give you a little bit of introduction on these different sections. And like I said, in the next videos, we'll deep dive in different sections and build things. But for now, just to kind of give you what these different sections are and what they're used for. So the first tab is you're going to end up on the agent tab. So this is the default. The agent language. So this is one of the benefits of ElevenLabs. It's available in several languages. You can actually build an agent, a voice agent, and it will interact in these all these different languages, which is amazing if you live in different countries, or if you're working with clients who would prefer a agent that requires it to speak a certain language. But anyways, for now we'll just stick with English, and obviously later on we can explore those options when we build more robust agents. So that's the language, the first message. So this is just when the customer or a person who's interacting with this agent will click on the little call button, and this is exactly what it's going to say. Hi, I'm Eric. How can I help you today? Right? So the way to do this, I always recommend testing at every stage when you're building these things. And the way to test it is you can actually click on the test AI agent here. But before we do that, just quickly, so the system prompt right here. So this is what I was talking about as far as the template, because we clicked on the support agent. This already comes with this system prompt that says you're a support agent named Eric. You're very friendly, enthusiastic, and you really want to help the customer get the help they need. Answer in 3 to 7 sentences in most cases. And if you're familiar with n8n and if you have built agents, this is equivalent to the system prompt inside that tools agent that we provide. But anyways, more to come on that. So let's go ahead and test this now, so that way you can at least see what this looks like. So we're going to click on test AI agent, and this is what that widget is going to show up as, even when you're embedding this widget on your website or on a customer's website, or whether it's for your own self. So the only thing to do to interact with this is you're just going to click on call AI agent. So you're going to click.
Eric, how can I help you today?
And as soon as you do that, now it's activated. So it's actually listening right now. As you can see, it's listening and it's going to respond to me, but I don't want to do that. Let me just quickly go back so that way we can have a conversation with this. So that, like you notice, it said, hi, I'm Eric. How can I help you? That's exactly what I said. So now we can even change this. So I'm going to change it to Jack. And as soon as you change anything, this little pop-up will come up that says you have unsaved changes. So we're going to click on save. And it's going to take a couple of seconds usually. That's normal. So I'm going to click on test AI agent now, and let's quickly interact with this.
Hi, I'm Jack. How can I help you today?
Hi, Jack. How you doing?
Hey there. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How can I help you today? I'm here to answer any questions you might have or assist you with anything.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, as you can see, it is actually, you can interrupt it. So because it's a live agent, and as soon as you talk back, it will stop talking, it will stop responding and go back to listening. So that's what's going to happen. In the bottom, as you see, it says in development, calls are built at a rate of 500 credits per minute. And the credits are right here. So for every minute that you speak to this or interact with this, it's going to charge you 500 credits. But anyways, let me go back here because we'll go through the rest. So that's why every time you make a change, it's always good to click on test AI agent so you can test to make sure that the changes got implemented properly. You can change the system prompt for whatever you like, but for now we're going to leave it as it is. So this is going to be the LLM. So this is the large language model that you want to select to interact with. If you click on the drop down here, you'll see that by default, it's going to select Google's Gemini 1.5 Flash. And this is because it's the fastest large language model when it comes to this real-time conversation and interaction. You have option to select a bunch of other ones, and you can even add a custom LLM. But again, we'll explore that in later videos. So if you wanted to have a proper tool use, and in our case, when we build things with n8n, we will obviously select these bigger models that have proper tool use, and it's more powerful, like either the GPT-4 Turbo or Mini or the Claude 3.5. So yeah, so this is where you can select your LLM, and you can always test this as you build things to see which large language model is good for what purpose. So depending on what kind of a voice agent you're building, you will have to play around with the different models to see which one provides you the best results when it comes to the interaction with the customer. So the temperature, again, this is just a normal large language temperature, and this is the controls the creativity or randomness of the responses that's generated by the large language model. Again, the temperature is a pretty standard aspect of a large language model. Limit token usage. Again, this is if you wanted to limit the token, but for now, you're going to leave it as standard, which is -1, which means that there is no limit on it. So knowledge base, this is where we'll explore also building our workflows with n8n, where we can add actually a knowledge base directly in this AI agent within the ElevenLabs. And there's several options to add knowledge base here. We can add a file, so you can add up to 21 megabytes of file. It could be PDF, text, docs, HTML, or EPUB. You can even have a URL where it will scrape actually a particular website to get information. And I tested this with my AI agency workshop, and it actually works pretty well. Or you can even add a manual text. So if you're, for example, building, I don't know, a restaurant voice agent, which we'll do actually as an example, you can always add this here and add the content as a text as well for the knowledge base. All right, so let's go ahead and cancel this for now. And then the tools, so this is where this thing becomes very powerful, because we're going to be interacting with this tool a lot, because this is how you're going to communicate from this voice AI agent from ElevenLabs to our backend to n8n in our case via the webhook. And again, we'll explore this in detail because this is what makes this thing very, very powerful. So a lot more to come on this, but for now, let's just leave it as it is. Secrets. So this is going to, again, we'll interact with this later on, but this is to, if you want to authenticate, you can add that there. Again, those are the complicated features here. I want to kind of start slow. And since this is an introduction, I just want to show you what is. So the next one is we're going to build something very simple, and then we're going to make it more and more complicated with the more builds. All right. So the next tab, so that's pretty much, we're done with that. This agent tab. So that's all of the features that are there. The voice tab. So this is where you can choose the voices. So ElevenLab by default has several voices that it comes with, and you can actually choose right here. The reason why I have so many here is because I've done a lot of cloning, but yours is gonna look basically right here, and you can choose the different voices that are available within ElevenLabs. So, and you can see on the right hand side here what it's kind of made for. And if you click on play, it will give you an example. So let's go ahead and do that.
Just trust yourself, then you will know how to live.
There is no greater harm than that of time wasted.
As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others.
All right. So that's pretty much the voice options that you have. Or like I said, you can clone it. And since I've cloned a bunch like Jarvis and stuff like that, you can just select that from here. But for now, we're going to leave. Let's go ahead and actually select Bill right here, because that's like very popular narration one. So as you can see, as soon as you select and make a change, this little unsaved thing will pop up and you can save. And again, you don't have to save it all the time, but I would suggest it's a good practice to save it as you go on. So use Flash. Again, we'll come back and explore this later on, but this is basically for models that are low latency use cases. And for more, that you can definitely check here for more comparison, the difference between what the turbo is versus Flash. You can check that documentation there. TTPS output format. So this is the format that you want ElevenLabs to use for the text to speech. By default, it's going to choose the lowest one, which is 16,000 hertz. But again, obviously, as you choose the higher one, it's going to most likely cost you more credit, or it's going to become more expensive. So you can play around based on the use case there. But for the 16,000 hertz is pretty good. Pronunciation. So again, this is if you want to upload any kind of lexicon dictionary files that will apply the pronunciation replacement to the agent responses that are by default. And again, like I said, we'll when we build more complex things, we'll come back to this. Optimization, streaming latency. Again, these things for now, leave it as it is, because this is where, depending on what your use case is and what you're building, you can play around with the latency, the stability, and the similarity. And this will be based on how the speech becomes more consistent, or how similar do you want it to be if you have cloned a voice to the original voice. So again, like I said, for now, we'll just leave them as standards, and until you play around and really get comfortable, leave these as standards, I would suggest. So once let's go ahead and click on save, so we can select Bill's voice here. And again, you can always test this. So now if I just click.
Hi, I'm Jack. How can I help you today?
There you go. So the reason why it says hi, I'm Jack is because the first message is there, but you can change it as you move along. All right, so that was the voice analysis. So this is going to be very, very important. Another great thing about this agent is that you can actually put evaluation criteria. So that way you can collect even data during the conversation. And, we'll explore this further, because this makes it very powerful for customers, because you can actually have insight into how your voice agent had an interaction with customers, and you can add different evaluation criteria. You can collect data during the conversation. And like I said, we'll explore that further down. Security, for now, don't worry about this, because these are kind of like for more advanced things when you're enabling overrides. And this is going to be for later down the line when we're building more advanced voice AI agents. Same thing here. This is going to be some limitation that you can put on. So for example, the timeout, you can put how long before it times out, the max conversation duration. So if you want to say, hey, after like a 300 seconds, you need to stop conversating with the customer or yourself, because you don't want somebody to come and just completely use all of the credits that you have, right? So, and again, all of this stuff will come back and explore this down the line, but leave all of this as it is. The widgets, so this is the great thing. You can actually, once you build this thing, you can just copy this code snippet and put it on your website, and the thing will show up right here. As you can see, it says need help, and you can actually change this here too. So for example, you can change the color here. So if you wanted to have a combination of this little circle thing, you can have it compact, you can have it full, where it will show this here, or you can expand it to where this will, oh, right now it's not showing, but this becomes bigger when you put expand. There you go. For some reason it's disappearing, but anyway, so we'll just leave it as full for now. Background color, so this is if you want to change this to something, you can play around with this obviously yourself to see, you know, what type of customization you want to make. Same thing with the changes here for the font, right? So you can play around with the formatting here. And same thing for the avatar. So this is the avatar. If you want to change the color here and customize it, you can definitely do that here. And the same thing, all the calls here. So it says start a call right now. You can change that to something else, and you can do a bunch of stuff here to customize the look and feel of it. Okay. All right. So we'll just clear this and it will go back to default. So that's pretty much this introduction of what's around here. Most of the time when you're initially building, you're just going to be right here in the agent and the voice. So those are the two tabs that you're going to usually interact with. And then for the more advanced ones, we'll explore that later down the line. All right, so that was a quick introduction. In the next video, we're going to actually build a quick tech support exactly like here, and we'll test out the different LLMs. We can put change the system prompts, and then experiment a few things here and there, so that way you can see how this thing can become more and more powerful. And in the upcoming videos, like I said, we'll keep building on top of it and make this more and more complex, but we're going to go one step at a time, so that way you fully understand how all of this works. All right, welcome back. So hopefully you watched the previous introduction video. If you didn't, please make sure you watch that, because we're kind of continuing on top of that and building this tech support agent. All right. So on the previous video, we went through the introduction. I introduced all these sections here, and we built this tech support AI agent. So now we're just going to actually start to test this out and manipulate a few things, so that way you know how to interact with it and how to make changes here. All right. So you're going to be on the agent tab. Language, leave it as English, obviously, unless you want to change it, up to you. But I would suggest kind of start with English, because we're going to be changing the system prompt and things here and there. So you want to make sure you test it out before you move on to the next languages. All right. So the first message, again, this is going to be what the voice AI agent is going to say as soon as the customer clicks on, right here, as soon as they click on call AI agent. As you can see, this says,
Hi, I'm Jack. How can I help you today?
Okay, so that's basically what that says. It says, hi, I'm Jack. How can I help you today? So depending on what you want to say. So let's say, hi, I'm Bill, the customer tech support agent. How can I help you today? So let's go ahead and manipulate that. I'm going to click on save. And once again, it's going to take a couple of seconds. Usually it's pretty normal. So I'm going to click on test AI agent, and this time I'm going to click on call AI agent, and it should say exactly what we typed there.
Hi, I'm Bill, the customer tech support agent. How can I help you today?
All right, there you go. So now you understand what that says. All right, so let's go ahead and leave that as it is. Hi, I'm Bill. How can I help you today? So we'll leave that as it is. And then the system prompt. So this is where you're determining, the persona or the personality, or how this agent should interact based on the context of conversation. Again, if you're familiar with n8n, and if you have built AI agents within n8n, or if you have had any interaction with large language models outside, then you would understand that the system prompt is a very common way to instruct this agent on what kind of a persona or what kind of a personality you want to give this, right? So this is where we're going to be, as we build more complex voice AI agents, we're going to make this even more and more robust. And this is where we're going to use the system prompt to instruct this voice agent to be able to retrieve information from n8n. So that's where we'll be able to instruct this AI agent to do different things. But for now, it's just, again, this is the standard that it comes with the customer support agent that you select from ElevenLabs, but you can change this as much as you want. So right now, the system prompt, it says you're a support agent named Eric, and we can change that to Bill because we changed the name earlier to Bill. You're very friendly and enthusiastic, and you really want to help the customer get what they need. Answer 3 to 7 sentences in most cases. So you're limiting how much it can interact with as far as the amount of sentences or amount of words it's going to use. And this is very important. I think you should always put some kind of a sentence cap, because otherwise you don't want the agent to have a very long conversation or a very long response, right? You want to be able to have this voice agent have a very natural human-like conversation with the customers, and therefore you need to have these different limits or these different things that you want to put in the system prompt to instruct it to be as natural as possible. So here it says you're very friendly and enthusiastic, and that's what the persona you're giving it. So if you want to give it a different persona, you can change this to that as well. So let's say we're going to say, hey, you are a very professional and straightforward customer support agent, right? And your job is to help out the customers with whatever they need, right? So let's go ahead and do that. You're a very professional and reliable. Actually, you're very professional and funny, let's say, right? Just to test it out. Customer support agent. Customer support agent. Answer in 3 to 7 sentences. So let's go ahead and save this and test it out again. Like I said, it's always a good habit to keep saving the different updates when you do a different section. So I'm going to click on test AI agent. Let's go ahead and interact with this time. So I'm going to go back and forth because, again, this is supposed to be a natural conversation. So as you click on this call AI agent as a customer, so pretend like this is in a customer's website, then you want to be able to have interaction with this just like you are with a normal human being, right? Therefore, you can actually interrupt it. So while it's talking, you can actually interrupt it right away, and then it will stop, listen, respond back. So let's go ahead and test that out.
Hi, I'm Bill. How can I help you today?
Hey, Bill, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How can I help you today? Just let me know if there's anything I can do for you. I'm here to make sure you have a fantastic day.
All right, Bill. I just want to get some information about what you are, who you are, and what you're supposed to do.
Well, I'm Bill, your friendly
Hold on.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm Bill.
Actually, hold on a second. I had another question. All right, there you go. So I wanted to demonstrate that you can actually talk while it's speaking, while it's responding. And as soon as you talk back, it will go back to listening, just like a normal human being would, right? So that's what the great thing about this is. And the reason why it's capable of actually doing that is it has a lot to do with the large language model that you select. So therefore, there's Google Gemini 1.5 Flash is the fastest. That's why it says the fastest, because it can interact with the customer in a very fast way when it comes to the interruption versus responding back. So that's why the large language model that you select will have a very big impact on how it's having a conversation with the customer. I've tested majority of these. So based on the different use cases, as we build more robust AI voice agents, then I'm going to tell you guys exactly which large language model will be suitable for that purpose, right? And like I said, I tested a bunch of these, so I know, especially with all the GPT models and the Claude models, but definitely as far as how the fastest, it's definitely the Gemini 1.5 Flash. But unfortunately, the problem with this is it's not very robust when it comes to interaction with the tools, and we'll demonstrate that as we build, the tool within the n8n and instruct this to interact with our AI agent that's inside the n8n. All right. So that's the system prompt, and then that's the large language model. But for now, we're going to leave it as it is. Temperature, again, don't worry about this for now. Leave these two as it is. They're not that important. for now at least. As you build more complex things, then you can change them later on. So let's go ahead and add a knowledge base here. So if I click on add item here, so this is where we can add a knowledge base just like you would add a knowledge base to a AI agent with an n8n on a vector database. You're basically giving this a knowledge that it can rely on, and with the system prompt you can actually instruct this voice agent to only rely on its knowledge and not rely on its training data. So for this particular example, I have this AI workshop FAQ document. So right here, if I bring this up, so these are just some sample FAQs that I created for my AI workshop, AI agency in the school community. So I'm going to go ahead and upload this here, and then we're going to change the system prompt to say, hey, you are a customer support agent for AI workshop and only rely on your knowledge base in order to interact and provide information for the customer. So let's go ahead and upload this. I'm just going to basically drag this and drop it right here. There you go. So now as you can see, it says PDF, but make sure you click on add item. And once you do, now right here in the agent knowledge base, it says AI workshop FAQ.pdf. So that's going to be the one that we just uploaded. And if you have you can add multiple documents, obviously, but I'm just going to go ahead and click on save. So now we're going to go ahead and actually change the system prompt to say you're a support agent named Bill. And I'm going to say you work for a company named AI Workshop. Please only respond to the customer from your knowledge base. So we're going to say, actually, I'm going to say when a customer asks about AI workshop, I'm going to say, then we're going to say, please only respond to the customer from your knowledge base, right? So we're identifying and instructing this agent to, whenever a customer asks anything about the AI workshop, then respond to that. But if it doesn't, right, you want it to still have that natural conversation. So you want to specify and make the system prompt as specific as possible. And you can always play around with the system prompt depending on what use case you have to make sure it's meeting exactly your needs. So I'm going to click on save here. All right, once that's saved, let's go ahead and test it out again. So this time, click.
Hi, I'm Bill. How can I help you today?
Hey, Bill, what do you do?
Hi there. I'm Bill, a customer support agent at AI Workshop. We help businesses boost their efficiency by using AI agents to automate tasks like managing emails, scheduling, and data entry. Is there anything specific you'd like to know about AI Workshop?
Yeah, can you tell me about how an AI agent can help my business?
Of course. AI agents can be a game changer for your business. They can streamline your workflows, reduce costs.
Actually, I had another question. What about the school community? Can you tell me about the AI Workshop school community quickly?
You bet. The AI Workshop school community is a fantastic place for AI enthusiasts and professionals to connect, learn, and grow together.
There you go. So again, the reason why it knows that now is because we gave it that knowledge base and all of this frequently asked questions about the AI Workshop company, the agency, the school community, all of that is in there. And therefore, it's in a very natural way relying on its knowledge base to interact with the customer whenever they're asking a question about anything that's related to the AI Workshop company. And the reason why I asked it, hey, like, what do you do? So because I wanted to test to make sure that it understands this system prompt that we put here, right? To say, hey, I work for a company named AI Workshop. So it knows this. And then the follow-up question as a customer asked about the AI Workshop in the school community. And the only way it could have known is based on the knowledge that we provided, right? So now if we remove this, let's go ahead and test this out now and get rid of this. Save it, because we want to test and make sure that it's not just making things up, right? So,
Hi, I'm Bill. How can I help you today?
hey, Bill, I wanted to know, who do you work for?
Well, that's a great question. I'm glad you asked. I'm actually an AI, so I don't work for anyone in the traditional sense.
What about
It's great.
the school community?
The school community is a really important part of learning and growing. It's where students, teachers, and parents come together to support each other and
There you go. That was a perfect example of how, when I asked him about school community, he actually didn't know what I was talking about. It was just talking about general school communities where parents could come in together, right? So that's the difference. That's a huge difference right there, where when you instruct it to use its knowledge base and utilize that document or whatever you're uploading, then it will rely on that. And as I said, that was one way to interact with or put a knowledge base here with the file. You can actually have a URL. So if I give it this URL, this will do the same things. If I add and click on save, now it should be able to access this URL as a knowledge base and interact with the customer and provide that information. So let's test it out again.
Hi, I'm Bill. How can I help you today?
Hey, Bill, I wanted to know some information about how to join the AI Workshop School community.
Hey there. The AI Workshop School community is a great place to connect with other AI enthusiasts and learn from experts. To join, you can check out our website for more information. We have a lot of great resources available, including tutorials, guides, and a forum where you can connect with other members. It's a great place to learn and grow your skills in AI and automation.
There you go, right? You can see there's several ways. You can just put a link of your website and it will actually give you all of the extracted data. If you click on it right here, you see it says, we help businesses streamline operation at scales without adding the headcount. And if I go to my website, that's exactly what it is, right? We help businesses streamline operation at scale without adding headcount. So you can see it's capable of actually scraping that. And same thing with the AI Workshop School community. It grabbed it directly from right here, where we talk about learning and growth, tutorials, and connecting with experts. So that's what you can see. Oops. So this is what we're going to build later on the more complicated one where we'll interact with this. But for now, I just wanted to kind of start slow. All right, so that was the knowledge base. So now that's good for now. Let's go ahead and stop this for now, because the next one we're going to actually interact with the tools, and I'm going to show you how to add and interact with n8n via the tool section through the webhook. All right, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. All right, so we're going to build on top of what we built earlier on the previous video. So let's go ahead and again, make sure you're watching these videos in the order that they're in to make sure you get the full advantage and full understanding. Otherwise, you're going to get confused because this is a very complicated product and these builds are going to be very complicated. So you don't want to start in the middle because you're going to get lost and things might not work out. As far as workflows, you're going to run into errors if you don't follow this step or the same process that are the sequence here. But anyways, so in the previous one, we obviously interacted with the system prompt here. We added a knowledge base. We talked about the different types of knowledge base that are available, like the file, URL, or even text that you can actually add manual information here. So let's go ahead and now go to tool section, because this is what makes this AI agent, these voice agents, very, very powerful. And this is how you can interact with the n8n backend. All right, so the tools, as you can see right here, it says provide the agent with tools it can use to help users, right? So once you click on the tool here, so there's the webhook and client here. We're gonna actually focus on the webhook because we need to add the tools inside n8n, and we just need to connect and send information back and forth between n8n and the ElevenLabs voice agent. And the way to do that is we're gonna use the webhook. So the configuration is going to be, you need to give this tool a name. That's very important because you want to be able to, on the system prompt, refer to this tool whenever you are telling the system prompt to use this tool for a certain purpose, or for whatever purpose you're trying to use n8n for, right? So, and again, we'll go into detail on how to call this tool within the system prompt here. So let's go ahead and actually just do a sample one, right? So I'm just going to say test tool. Okay. And make sure that if you are using several words for the naming, make sure you put underscore here, because that's the best way to do naming convention, and also actually will give you an error if you do go beyond the alphanumeric. So this is the description that you want to give to this tool. And again, you're instructing the large language model when to use this tool, right? Just like inside your AI agents, when you are instructing. So if we go to our AI agent right here, again, don't worry about this. I'm just giving this as an example. We'll come back to this, but this is where on the system prompt, right? Like if you're familiar with additional tool, we just say, hey, use this tool for checking available times for appointments, use this tool for this and that. So that's exactly what this is going to be like, right? Get rid of that. This is exactly what we're doing here. We're describing when this agent should use this tool, right? So therefore, we're going to say, use this tool to call n8n. Just again, these are just for sampling purposes. And the way to interact with this, so now it says it knows when to use this tool, right? So whenever a customer is interacting with this voice agent, as soon as it hears that, oh, I want information about n8n, then this voice agent is going to recognize that, and based on the system prompt, they will basically both understand that, okay, the customer has said almost like the magic word, or they have said something that matches this description, and therefore it's going to know to use this tool for that moment, right? So, and again, once we build more complex things, you will understand exactly, but this is just to show you when to or how to use description here. So the method, it's going to be post for now because we're sending this information to n8n, therefore it's going to be post. The URL, so this is where you're going to put your webhook URL. So let's go ahead now, switch to n8n. Let's go ahead and name this testing ElevenLabs. That's good enough. All right, so now let's go ahead and add a webhook, because that's going to be the trigger right here, right? So I'm going to search for webhook, like that. So if you're not familiar with webhooks, this is how you can communicate with third parties, right? From n8n, outside n8n, and we're going to send the information back via webhook as well. But the URL is going to be either a test URL or a production URL. So the difference is that whenever you have this workflow live, that's when you will choose production URL. But for us, in order for me to show that, hey, look, it's actually reaching out and talking to back and forth between this voice agent from ElevenLabs and the webhook here, and then we're going to use the test. So because this is really long, let's go ahead and change the path here. So I'm just going to say testing. Okay. So now the URL is your app.n8n.cloud. So if you're on the cloud, it's going to say the cloud. If you're on self-hosting or whatever, this is going to be your URL that you input on the lab, on the ElevenLabs there. So the HTTP method, this is going to be a post again. And the authentication, we're going to leave it as none here. This is very important. Make sure you're changing the respond from immediately to using respond to webhook node, because for this particular webhook trigger, what we're doing is we're just basically listening for incoming information from ElevenLabs, but we want to be able to communicate back to ElevenLabs. Therefore, when we are building our workflow, you need to make sure you're selecting this respond to webhook node, because then we will add another webhook node. So if I just go ahead and click on add, and if we search for webhook again, so this time instead of selecting the trigger, you're going to select the respond to webhook. And if you can see in the bottom, it says returns data for webhook. So you're going to choose this as when you're sending response back. So that we're going to connect this to whatever flow we're building, and then we're going to collect that back to this node where this is going to send information back to our voice agent. But anyways, for now, the reason why I'm showing that is because I want to make sure you understand why we're choosing this respond to webhook node. All right, so just leave this as it is. Let's go ahead and test this out. So I'm going to go ahead and copy. So make sure your HTTP method is post. You're going to click on copy here. So now we're going to go back to our voice agent, and we're going to paste this here. All right, perfect. Okay, so now next we can send either headers, path parameters, query parameters, or body parameters. We need to send some parameter, otherwise this just won't work. So if you just save the changes now, oops, I didn't mean to download that. But anyways, if you just click on save now, this is going to give you an error. As you can see in the bottom, it says post method requires request body schema. So you need to have, that's a requirement. When you create a tool, you need to enable the body parameters here, right? So let's go ahead and actually click on enable here. And at the bottom, when you do that, so this is again, same thing. We need to have a description for this body parameter and say when to use this, right? Or what to do here. So for the description, we're going to say in a polite way, ask the customer their name. Okay. So now when we do this, now you'll see in the bottom why I set this. So now we're saying that during the conversation, we're instructing this voice agent that you need to, when this tool is called, right, you should ask for a parameter that we need to send back to n8n, and we're instructing it that in a polite way, ask the customer for their name, but now we need to describe what that name is. So we're going to click on add property, and this is the data type. So we're going to click on string because we're just sending a name. We're going to select name or add identify as name, and just we're going to describe what this parameter is. We're going to say name of the customer. All right, so now that's done. Let's go ahead and test this out. I'm going to click on save changes, click on save, and this time it shouldn't give us that error because we provided a body parameter in our webhook. And there you go, it saved it properly. So now let's go ahead and let me actually minimize this. So that way I can show you. Bring this over here. Perfect. There you go. All right. So now let's go ahead and. All right, good. So now let's go ahead and actually test this thing out. So I'm gonna go ahead and say, let's see, what do we call this tool? We call it test tool. So now we need to make sure that we describe here that we're going to say when a customer is asking, actually I'm going to tell it name Bill. Let's go ahead and say you work at AI workshop. Okay. The knowledge base, we'll leave it as the URL. So now we're going to instruct it when to use this tool that we just created, right? So we're going to say when a customer is asking about a particular school topic, use the test tool. Right, you want to make sure that the name is matching here. So we said, what was it? Test tool. Yep, exactly. So now we should be able to interact with this voice agent and send this information whenever a customer is asking about a particular school topic. Actually, to make this more relevant, let's just quickly, or to test this out, actually, I'm going to say something crazy here. So I'm saying when a customer is, let's say, asking about the weather, use the test tool, right? Because we want to make sure this is very clear, our instruction, because this will be outside the AI workshop. So I want to just showcase how you can use this. So now I'm going to go ahead and click on save. Yeah, it's going to take, like I said, a couple of seconds. That's pretty normal. All right, so now we're good to go. So now let's go ahead and click on test workflow here. So now this is listening for incoming data that should be coming in from ElevenLabs. So let's go ahead and click on test AI agent. And now we're going to talk to this, and then we're going to mention weather. So it should reach out as soon as we mention that. So let's go ahead and do that.
Hi, I'm Bill. How can I help you today?
Hey, Bill, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How can I help you today?
Can you tell me a little bit more about AI Workshop?
Of course. AI Workshop is all about helping businesses like yours streamline operations.
Okay,
and grow.
okay, that's great. Can you tell me about the weather?
I can definitely do that. What city are you interested in? I can tell you the weather for any location.
San Francisco.
I'm sorry, but I can't get the weather information for San Francisco right now.
All right, so now let's take a look at what happened here. Yeah, it looks like there was an error because I didn't attach another node to it. So let's quickly add a node. So I'm gonna add, let's say Google Sheets. Google Sheets. Let's say append a row. Okay, that's fine. Whoops. I'm gonna do this. All right, so let me go ahead and zoom in here a little more. Delete this. Shut this down. I'm just gonna add respond to webhook. Again, this is just for test purposes. All right, perfect. So now let's go ahead and try this again. And I'm gonna click on test workflow. So now it's listening.
Hi, I'm Bill. How can I help you today?
Hey Bill, can you tell me about the weather?
Sure thing. I can help you with that. What city are you interested in?
San Francisco. All right.
I'm sorry.
There
I
you
can't
go.
provide you with the...
All right, perfect. So now let's go ahead and take a look at this. So if we, let me get rid of that because I just want to, oops, yeah, I just want to showcase that this got communicated to us, right? So now if I click on, let me maximize this a little bit more. If I click on this webhook, all right, there you go. So now you can see that we got this data that came to us, right, from our n8n, and I'm sorry, from our ElevenLabs there. And what it sent is the body, right? It sent the name because, again, like I said, we asked it to provide a name, and we could have said a city, but we just said name. But essentially, this is the body parameter that we on the voice agent here on the tool. We go inside. So where did it go? Right here, name, right? That's what we said. This was the only body parameter that we're sending. So now we can actually change this to city if you want to make this better. Save. So now you'll see that right here, this is going to change from body to city, right? So now we're going to go ahead and use this again, get rid of it, delete this. Now I'm going to click on test workflow. All right, let's test it out. Call AI agent.
Hi, I'm Bill. How can I help you today?
Hey Bill, I wanted to get information about the weather.
Sure thing. What city are you interested in?
San Francisco.
Okay, let me check the weather for...
All right, perfect. There you go, right? So we received data. So now if I go inside the webhook and go to the JSON here, as you can see in the bottom body, it says city, San Francisco, right? That's because that's exactly what we identified right here. We told it to, in a polite way, well, we said customer name, but it doesn't matter because the important thing is that we're sending this parameter right here, and whatever is going to be the value of that parameter is exactly what's going to populate here, right? So that hopefully gave you a good idea of how this can communicate back and forth. So now on the next video, we can actually build a very quick workflow here that is going to customer service for a restaurant, for example, that's going to ask for a reservation. What we're going to do is identify a bunch of body parameters like the name, the time, the date, and the number of people for that reservation for this restaurant. And we're going to send that back to our webhook. We're going to attach a Google Sheets that's going to capture all that information and respond back to the customer saying that the reservation has been confirmed. Okay? All right. See you on the next video. All right, so in the previous video, we built this kind of communication. We added this simple testing tool that we had a conversation with the AI agent, and we prompted the system prompt to use the tool whenever a customer asks about a weather. And what we did was we basically added a tool description here with the URL for our post method in the webhook, where n8n is listening for that webhook, and we send it these body parameters just like the city name, or I mean, again, it was just for a sample. So in this one, we can actually build a real workflow and a real voice agent for a customer reservation for a restaurant. So this is going to show you a good initial introduction on how to build a voice agent that might be actually for a very practical use, like calling a customer service at a restaurant to book a reservation. So we're going to utilize the same thing, the webhook. We're going to have a Google Sheet with different, the name, the date for the reservation, and the number of people, right? We're just going to keep it very simple, and the time as well, of course. So let's go ahead and start fresh. So now what I'm going to do is maximize this for now, because we're going to come back to use the n8n later, but I want to go ahead and start fresh. All right, so now here, same thing. Once you come on your agents, you're going to click on either this plus button right here, or we're going to click on create an agent. So we're going to name this agent now. We're going to name this, let's see, because again, we're going to be building this kind of like a customer support for a restaurant. Let's say Joe's Diner, for example. So we're just going to say customer reservation agent Joe's Diner. Okay. Again, you can name it whatever you want, but I'm going to click on support agent here, click on create agent. So now this is going to create that agent for you. And once it's done, on the left hand side, as you can see, this is created, and you have this, obviously this agent ID. Again, we'll explore what that is later on, but for now, just leave it as it is. The first message, let's go ahead and change this from Eric to, let's say, Jackie. Okay. We're going to leave that one as it is. How can I help you? We'll find. Let's go ahead and change the system prompt. So I'm going to go ahead and paste the system prompt that I typed earlier. So I said, you're a support agent named Jackie. You're very friendly and enthusiastic and really want to help the customer get the help they need. Answer to 3 to 7 sentences in most cases. You work at a restaurant called Joe's Diner. So we just changed, I just added that you work at a restaurant called Joe's Diner, and I changed the name to Jackie, of course. All right, so LLM, we can actually choose GPT-4 for mini for now. So right now it says that the cost will be passed on to you later on. Right now, because I think it's going through the beta phase, it's right now, ElevenLabs is covering the LLM cost. So in the future, this is going to be passed to us, of course, to someone who's building it. So let's go ahead and choose GPT-4, GPT-4o. And then we're going to use, actually, you know what? I'm going to choose Claude 3.5, because Claude is, I think it's a lot better when it comes to voice agents. And I'll explain that later on when we build more complicated ones. Why? Because we'll test different ones. Okay, so we'll leave that as it is. The temperature, leave it as it is. Limit token, leave it as it is for now. Now let's go ahead and add a knowledge base about this Joe's Diner restaurant, right? So I created a sample FAQ for Joe's Diner. Let me go ahead and actually just do that quickly. Let me pull this up so you see what it is. So this is just like a sample Joe's Diner FAQ that I used ChatGPT to generate. So it just has some information about what kind of cuisines do you have, the dressing, the outdoor seating, what are your typical wait times, you know, do you accept reservations, walk-ins, can I make a reservation, do you require a deposit, and then just a few different information about like kind of the dress code, for example, right? And do you offer happy hours? So just random information. All right, so let's go ahead and attach this. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this and bring it over here. Same thing, you just drag and drop. And then we'll also give this a menu item. So if you have a website for obviously this is just a demo restaurant, but if you have a website, you can put the URL. And here I'm going to go ahead and give this the menu items, right? So I'm going to go ahead and create a text menu using ChatGPT, and then just dump it in there. So let me go ahead and create that, and I'm going to paste it here. All right, so I pasted this sample Joe's Diner menu, grilled favorites, filet steak, ribeye steak. I put the prices here too, just for sample, so that way we can ask it and the agent to make sure it's retrieving the proper. So we're going to ask it the T-bone steak and how much it is. It should respond accordingly. So just sample items, right? But we need to make sure we name this. So I'm just going to say menu items and prices, let's say. Okay. I'm going to click on add item. So now we have a knowledge base of menu items and prices. Oh, it looks like I didn't add the file. So let's add the file too. So if I go back, just click on add item. I didn't think I saved it earlier. Yep, that's what I did. So just drag. So now click on add item. There you go. Now you have Joe's Diner FAQ and then the menu items and the prices, right? Okay. So now let's go ahead and jump on the tool section, because this is where we'll create that webhook here. So I'm going to click on webhook. So we're going to name this reservations, right? Because for restaurant reservations. And then for description, I'm going to say use this tool to make a reservation for Joe's Diner, let's say. Okay. As I said, if you make sure you watch the previous videos, because I go in detail and explain what these different configurations are, what the description does, but quickly, this description basically tells the LLM or this agent when to use this particular tool. But again, make sure you watch the previous videos to make sense of all of this. So method, we're going to be post, obviously. The URL, like we mentioned in the previous videos, we're going to go ahead and copy our webhook URL. So let me actually, that's not the one. That's a more complicated one. We'll build that later on. So we're building this testing. I just deleted that. Now I'm going to change this to Joe's Diner Voice Agent. Okay. So what we need to do, again, as I mentioned on the previous videos, we're going to add a webhook here as a trigger. So this is going to be a webhook. I'm going to keep this as test URL, and I suggest you do the same thing because you want to be able to see exactly what steps are being processed. So we're going to change the HTTP method to post. We're going to change the pass to reservations this time. Reservation. Authentication, keep it as none. Respond, this is very important. Make sure you're selecting this use respond to webhook node, right? So now we're done. Now we're just going to go ahead and copy this URL here. So I'm just going to click here, copy. Let's go ahead and save this. We're going to go out here and paste. All right, perfect. So double check, make sure that this is correct. So now that's done. Let's go ahead now add our parameters. But before we do that, actually, I'm going to go ahead and create a Google Sheets here because we need to be able to retrieve the information that's coming in from ElevenLabs to this webhook. We need to add this to a Google Sheet. So let's go ahead and create a Google Sheet. So I'm going to head over to my Google Sheets quickly. So I'm going to create a blank worksheet. So we're going to name this reservations. Actually, you know what? Let me do reservation. It's the name of the sheet. We need to have the name, right? The date of the reservation, the time, and then the party size, right? So this is going to be the number of people that's going to be, actually, you know what? I'm just going to say number of people. There you go. Okay. Let's make this a little bigger. So that way, oops. Okay, that's good. Boom. Make this a little bigger. So that way we know this is, there you go. Actually, boom. All right, so that's good enough. Anyways, so now let's go ahead and make sure we, let me pull this up a little more. Make sure we attach this to our n8n. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a Google Sheets now. Click on plus sign, search for Google Sheets. All right, so we're gonna append a row, right there. Make sure you have your Google Sheets account attached to the credentials. Resource sheet within the document, append row, correct, from list. So if we did this right, if you connected it properly, it should load up all the sheets that are there. There you go, reservations there. The sheet's gonna be the sheet 1. All right, so now we're gonna map column mode manually, and there you go. These are the columns that are within our Google Sheet, which is correct. All right, so let's leave that as it is. So now we're going to go back, and now let's go ahead and add our parameters. So we're gonna actually add body parameters because that's what we're sending. We're gonna click on enable. So here's where we need to describe what the voice agent is going to ask whenever the customer says, I'm ready to reserve, right? So ready to reserve a table or reservation. So here we need to ask it in a friendly way, oops, ask the customer to provide their name, date of reservation, time of reservation, and the number of people. All right, so now we need to actually, when we gave it the description, now we need to identify these parameters as a property, and we need to send this to our n8n webhook, right? So we need to add property. Once you click on adding the property, so now we need to go one by one. So we're going to say name. This is going to be name of the customer, right? We're going to do date, right? So we're going to do, and that name is going to be string, obviously. Date is going to be the string as well. Date of the reservation. We're going to do time. Time of the reservation. And then we're going to do the number of people. So we're just going to do number. And we're going to keep this as number, change this to number. The data type, so we're going to do number of people for the reservation, right? Perfect. So now we're good to go here. Okay, so now we're done with adding the parameters. We're good to go. I'm going to click on add to, click on save. And if you did everything right, hopefully this will save without giving you an error. If you missed any of the parameters, this will actually give you an error. Make sure you read the error. It will tell you exactly what to do. All right. So we got the knowledge base, we got the reservation, and we got the system prompt, and then same thing on the first message. So now let's go ahead and make sure that we test this, that it's being sent, and then we will configure our webhook to add that that information in there. So let me go ahead and great. So now let me zoom in to make sure that this is good to go. All right, perfect. So now let's go ahead and test this thing out and make sure that it is working properly. So if everything is correct, we should be able to get this information with the name, the reservation, number of people, and then also the date and time. But let's go ahead and first test this agent out to make sure that it's actually retrieving the information from this knowledge base that we talked about. And let's go ahead and make sure we also tell it if a customer is asking any information about the restaurant, the diner, let's say, make sure to use your knowledge base. Make sure to retrieve information from your knowledge base only when the customer is ready to reserve, to make a reservation. Use the, what was the tool that we gave it? The reservation tool. Use the reservation tool. All right, great. Let's make sure this is spelled correctly. You can play around with the prompt depending on what your use case is. This is just sample. Again, as you build this thing out, first thing is just create a simple prompt, test it out, make sure you're receiving data back and forth, and then you can play around with updating the prompt for more complex reasoning. All right, so we're good to go here. Let's go ahead and save this. Actually, instead of, let's see, when the customer is ready to make a reservation. All right, yeah, that's good. We gave it everything. Click on save. All right, good. So now we're gonna click on test workflow here. We're gonna actually, before I do it, let me just go ahead and make sure that it's accessing the knowledge base here. So let me pull up that the menu items and the FAQ here. All right, so now let's go ahead and test this thing out. I'm gonna click on test AI agent. Call agent.
Hi, I'm Jackie. How can I help you today?
Oops, I forgot actually to add a different voice to this because it's still Bill's voice. So let's go ahead and head over to the voice tab, and we're gonna now change this to girl's voice. So if we come down here, there's a bunch. Let's see, Alice.
Just trust yourself, then you will know how.
Okay, that's not a good one. Social media. Let's take a look at Laura.
Our distrust is...
Or Jessica.
If you spend your whole life waiting... Our distrust is very expensive.
Actually, this is conversational. This is good. So let's select Jessica. There you go. Save. Okay, now let's test this out.
Hi, I'm Jackie. How can I help you today?
Hi Jackie, how you doing?
Hi there. I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for asking. It's always a great day here at Joe's Diner. How about you? Is
Good.
there anything I can help you with today? Whether you're looking for information about our menu, want to make a reservation, or just have some questions about Joe's Diner, I'm here to assist you with a smile.
Okay. Yeah, I had a quick question actually before I reserve a table. I just wanted to know, do you have outdoor seatings?
Absolutely. I'm thrilled you asked about that. Yes, we do have outdoor seating at Joe's Diner. We have a cozy outdoor patio that's perfect for enjoying your meal in the fresh air. It's a great spot to soak up some sunshine while savoring our delicious comfort food. Many of our customers love dining outside.
Okay, sounds good. Actually, I wanted to see if I could make a reservation.
Of course, I can help you with that. Could you please provide me with the number of people for the reservation, the date, the time, and your name?
Sure, yeah. My name is John Doe. The date is going to be December 19th, and the time is going to be at 1 p.m.
Thank you, John. How many people will be in your party for the reservation?
There's going to be 4 people.
It seems there was an issue with processing your reservation. I apologize.
Okay, so the reason why we ran into issues is because now we need to take this data that's coming in, right? And we need to send it to the Google Sheet. But what we did is I forgot to add the respond to Webhook. So that's why it's doing that. So let's go ahead and do that. That's the first step, because otherwise it's going to give you an error because we said respond using respond to Webhook nodes. So let's go ahead and attach that. So I'm going to do this and click on Webhook again, search for Webhook. And this time you're going to select this respond to Webhook, because again, this is how it's going to send data back to our voice agent here, right? And then we can also define this because we need to respond back and identify what the response is going to be. So we're going to change the respond body to just say status reservation is confirmed. Okay, perfect. So now I'm going to leave it as this. All right, now it's good. So now we should be able to interact back, and just this time, instead of going through that whole knowledge base check, I'm just going to actually just ask for the price of a steak, let's say. I think the T-bone steak, when we saw earlier, let me just double check. T-bone steak was $40. So let's go ahead and ask that price, and then we're going to say just let's go ahead and jump into the reservation. Okay, I'm going to click on test workflow. So now this is ready. Test AI agent.
Hi, I'm Jackie. How can I help you today?
Hey Jackie, I just wanted to know what the price of a T-bone steak is at Joe's Diner.
The price of a T-bone steak at Joe's Diner is $40. If you have any other questions about the menu or anything else, feel free to ask.
That's fine. Let's go ahead and make a reservation.
Sure, I can help you with that. Could you please provide me with the number of people for the reservation, the date, the time, and your name?
Yeah, name is John Doe. I want to make a reservation for tomorrow, December 19th at 1 p.m. And then what else did you need?
I just need to know how many people will be in your party for the reservation. Once I have that, I can finalize it for you.
There's going to be 5 people.
It seems there was an issue with processing your reservation.
Okay, perfect. So this actually worked. So now let's go ahead and, because I wanted to make sure we're receiving data to Webhook. So now that we have, we can go ahead and map it out to here, right? So let's click on the Google Sheets here. So now we have data coming in from this side. So let's go ahead and actually map that out. So if we come back here, there you go, perfect, right? We're receiving that body parameter right here. We're receiving the exact information we're looking for, right? So we're going to do name is going to be name. Date is going to be the date from here. Time is going to be the time. And then the number of people we're going to grab right here. Whoops. All right, perfect. So now this should be good to go, right? It's because we got everything. If we test the step, we want to make sure this goes through. Perfect. Nice. Okay. There you go. Now we're good to go. All right, great. So now let's go ahead and also open the Google Sheets here, because I want to make sure that we can see that that went through. Reservation. Perfect, right? John Doe. Yep, that's good to go. So now we should be able to append the row here. Okay, so if we go back, this time I'm going to delete this and then test the workflow, and this time I'm just going to reserve the table.
Hi, I'm Jackie. How can I help you today?
Hey Jackie, I want to make a reservation for tomorrow.
I'd be happy to help you with that. Could you please let me know how many people will be in your party, what time you'd like the reservation, and the name for the reservation?
Yeah, so name is going to be Jack Smith. For the date, it's going to be tomorrow, December 19th. And then the number of people is going to be 5. And then that's it.
Great. What time would you like the reservation for tomorrow?
I would like it at 2 p.m.
Your reservation for 5 people under the name Jack Smith at 2 p.m. tomorrow, December 19th is confirmed. If you have any other questions or need further assistance, feel free to ask. Enjoy your meal at Joe's Diner.
Thank you, Jackie.
You're very welcome, Jack. If you need it.
Okay, perfect. There you go, right? So we got everything set up. It went through, automated the process, added it to the Google Sheet, and confirmed the reservation. We sent the response back to the webhook saying that the reservation has been confirmed, and that's exactly what it did, right? So now you see that it retrieved that information directly from the conversation and added it to our n8n instance, right? So hopefully that made sense. So on the next one, what we're going to do is same thing, add to this tool, but this time instead of directly grabbing the information from the body parameter, we can actually add an AI agent so that way it can interact with that. And then after that, we'll be able to build even more complicated stuff. All right, so I'll see you on the next one. All right, so in this one, what we're going to do is now add an AI agent to be able to capture this incoming webhook that we did instead of bringing the items that are being sent over by the voice agent through the parameters to attach it directly like to the Google Sheet like we did earlier with the reservation, because we manually grabbed each one from the body, the parameters here, and attached it to the Google Sheet here. Instead, this time what we're going to do is we're going to replace this and add an AI agent here to be able to add additional tools to it and give this agent logic to make a independent decision based on the data that's coming in and do something with it, and then it can respond back to the webhook, and in our case to our voice agent here in ElevenLabs by this respond to webhook. So let's go ahead and remove this now. So I'm gonna actually, you know what, I'm gonna just make a copy of this so that way we can keep this for further processing later on. So I'm just gonna duplicate this, copy. Alright, so now let's go ahead and work on this. So let's go ahead and remove this right here. Oops, I'm just going to do that. There you go. Get rid of this connection. So here's where we'll add a AI agent this time. Let's go ahead and add our AI agent. It's going to be a tools agent. Alright, great. So it should basically look something like this, where the response from the agent should be back to this node respond to webhook, where this is going to send the same thing. The message here is just simply reservation is confirmed, right? Because once the voice AI agent determines all the necessary body parameters, which in our case is going to be the name, the email, let's see, what was it? No, the name, the date, the time, and the number of people for the reservation, right? So we have these two samples here. So now let's go ahead and actually add our chat model. So I'm going to use my OpenAI here, OpenAI, and GPT-4 Mini is fine with this one. You can always experiment even with this one as you build more and more complicated agents, especially with this voice agent. You will see I'll also experiment with different models just to see which one gives me better results. We don't have to add memory because, again, I mean, we could, but for this one I'm not to, because I don't want to make this too complicated. But for tools, this time we're going to add our Google Sheets tool inside this AI agent, or we're going to attach our Google Sheets as a tool for this agent. So I'm going to go ahead and select my Google Sheets tool. And for those of you who had watched my previous videos about how to utilize this from AI functionality, that's exactly what we're going to do here, right? But for now, let's go ahead and get our, let's see, resources set automatically. Yep, we're setting it automatically on top right here. It says use the expression from AI, placeholder name, and placeholder. This is the key, which is required. So our parameter, our key is going to be the value that we're going to grab from this incoming webhook. That's going to be the body of this webhook, just like we described in our reservation tool right here. Okay, so let's go ahead and test this thing out. So I'm going to go ahead and send a some data here. So let's go ahead and make sure everything is good here. So it says the first message is Jackie. So it says your support agent named Jackie, and you're a friendly enthusiast, really want to help. So that's good. And then we have told it that you work at a restaurant called Joe's Diner. If a customer is asking for information about the diner, make sure you retrieve the information from knowledge base only. That's correct. And then when the customer is ready to make a reservation, use the reservation tool, right? That's exactly what we did. And we said that this is the reservation tool. This reservation tool, we gave it a description saying, use this tool to make a reservation for Joe's Diner. We have this post method here that we're sending this post method in this URL, and this URL is our webhook. One of the important things you have to understand is that whenever you refresh a page in n8n, and if you have a webhook, you got to make sure to go inside and actually change the path that you had set before, but it's going to refresh and it's going to utilize this default path, which is just random gibberish number. But for us, we had set the path to webhook-test/reservation, right? So make sure we change that, because right now it says webhook-test/ this whatever path and number it is. So let's go ahead and change this to reservation to make sure that it matches our webhook there. I think that's good. Respond using respond to webhook node. That's good to go. So now we're good. This is the exact URL right here. So now we should be able to receive that. And then the body parameters, we said in a friendly way, ask the customer to provide their name, date, and reservation. We're not changing any of that. We're putting in our properties here. And then also sending all of this via the body parameter of this webhook request, right? So let's go ahead and save changes. Actually, we didn't do anything, so I'm just going to cancel it. Okay, great. So we have the knowledge base. Everything else is good to go. I'm using GPT-4 Mini here. Let's go ahead and actually change this to Claude 3.5, because this is, I've noticed this actually works a bit better when it comes to the interaction back and forth. It is a little slower, but for this purpose, I'm going to demonstrate because again, this is just for demo purposes. So I want to show you guys that it should be able to have that natural conversation. And then down the line, we can experiment with different models to figure out the balance between the speed, the natural conversation that it's having with the customer, and then also its tool use, right? Because in our purpose, we're sending all of this information back to n8n to be able to do something with it. And therefore, we want to make sure we're selecting a model that has some kind of a it has to have the ability to use tools. So therefore, Claude is one of the best ones. So that's why we're going to use this for now. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and save this. And once this is saved, hopefully we didn't make any errors. And then what we need to do is now make sure, go to the top and actually test this thing out. So let's go ahead and send some data. So that way we can figure out the proper messages, or figure out the proper data and process it right here. But before I do that, like I said, I want to send some sample data so that way then we can switch to our n8n and be able to do stuff with it here. So let's go ahead and send some data. I'm just going to test the AI agent. Actually, before I do that, let's go ahead and shut this thing off, because then otherwise this is not going to run the workflow because it has error. And the reason why it has error is because we haven't defined this. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and actually do that. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab the reservation here, the sheet 1. We're good to go there. So set automatically. That's good. Tool description. Let's see. Resource, get rows. The operation is going to be append rows. That's what, there you go. That's what we need to do. So now we're gonna map each column manually, but this is where we'll utilize our from AI functionality. But for now, let's just leave it. Let's just send some data so we can grab that and then manipulate it and dynamically get the values from the body parameter that we're sending right here, right? So let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna go ahead and save this quickly. All right, now let's test the AI agent. You will notice now, compared to the Gemini Flash, Claude is a little slower as far as the response back and forth goes between the voice AI agent and the customer. So you will notice a little bit of lag, but that's fine. Like I said, we can fix that later on. So let's go ahead and test this.
Hi, I'm Jackie. How can I help you today?
Hey, Jackie, I want to see if I can make a reservation.
Of course. I'd be more than happy to help you make a reservation at Joe's Diner. We're always excited to welcome guests to our restaurant. Could you please provide me with some details for your reservation? I'll need to know the date, time, number of people in your party, and the name for the reservation. Once I have this information, I can use our reservation tool to secure your table.
Okay, yeah, so my name is Jack Smith. The reservation is going to be for 6 people for December 20th at 3 p.m.
Wonderful, Jack. Thank you for providing those details. I'll go ahead and make that reservation for you right away using our reservation tool.
All right, perfect. So the whole point of this was to send some data, which we actually did right here. And now let's go ahead and interact with that data. So I'm going to go ahead and come right here. All right, so let's go ahead and bring this to the center, zoom in a little bit. Perfect. So now we have this data that's coming in from our webhook. Let's double check here. Yep, that's the JSON. So now let's go ahead and get inside this AI agent. Whoops. AI agent. All right, perfect. So now here's the incoming data. As you can see, the body parameter includes the number of people, which is 6. Date is going to be December 20th. Time 3 p.m. Jack Smith. So that's perfect. We got the exact information that I sent via that voice message. So everything is correct. So now let's go ahead and add the prompt here. So we're going to have this as tools agent. Prompt source is going to be defining below. And here's where we need to add this data that's coming in, right? So what I'm going to do is actually go right here, expression, maximize this. So now what we need to do is actually go ahead and define the parameters here. So let me go right here. So I'm going to say, give me some space. So I'm going to say date of reservation. Actually, I'm just going to keep it at date. Date. On top, let me do this reservation details actually. Okay. Date, time, name, and then number of people, right? Number of people. And number is fine. You don't have to do this. I'm doing this just for the data to be clean, so that way I know what parameters are coming in. So the time is going to be right here. So name, and then let's grab the number of people. All right, perfect. So now this is the reservation detail that we have put here. Again, the reason why we're doing this is because now we will be able to do things with this data that's inside our prompt right here, right? This is basically the user or the user message that's coming in, because this is the incoming data. So now we need to add a system prompt to be able to tell this assistant what you're doing or what its job is, right? So in order to do that, I'm just going to go ahead and type this out, and I'll come back and explain it. All right, so I put a simple prompt here in the the system prompt. So I said, you're a customer support AI agent that works at a restaurant named Joe's Diner. You're designed to handle various tasks efficiently. The reason why I'm giving it this kind of general system prompt initially is because we want to be able to be ready to add more tools, right? Right now, we're only going to add Google Sheets tool, but we should be able to attach more tools to this. So therefore I'm saying various tasks efficiently. Your primary role is to book reservation for Joe's Diner. You have access to multiple tools to help you fulfill this request. So now we're going to define the tools that it has access to, and then what it should do, or when to use these tools. So the first one, obviously the main one, is going to be the Google Sheets tool. So I said use this tool to store reservation details, and the reservation details we defined on this right here, right? So now it has proper understanding of what its role is, when to use this tool that it has attached to it, and I'm giving this general prompt on top here that it will be ready for other tools that we can attach to it later on if we want to. So as now you attach more tools, you can start to manipulate this prompt and also identify exactly when to use the tool that it has access to, right? So for now, I said use this tool to store reservation details. That's coming from the parameter, the body parameters here, right? So I'm saying keep responses concise, short, and relevant to users' questions. Actually, not users' question, to, I'm just going to say to the reservation. Okay. Here's the current date and time. Yeah, so I'm giving it the date as well because I want to make sure that it, knows, it's aware of what the day is. So in case if somebody calls in and says, hey, I want to make a reservation for tomorrow, right? Both the voice agent and the agent here needs to understand what day is today. So that's why I'm giving this. This is always a good practice to do this. All right, so we're good to go there. So now we should be good. Let's go ahead and test this thing out. But before we do that, obviously we need to fill the Google Sheets here. So here, this is where we need to add the name, date, time, and number of people. And those are the exact column names here. So we need to grab this dynamically, right? So the name is going to be, I'm going to switch to expression. We're going to do 2 curly brackets. We're going to do $sign from AI, as you can see right here. Whoops. From AI. And it says from AI, key description, type, default value. If you're not familiar with this functionality, please make sure you watch the Mia Assistant video where I go in details and explain exactly what from AI functionality is. And you can also check out the documentation for n8n to give you a reference of how to use this. But to keep things short, and from AI, you only need a key, description, type, and default value. Key is the one that's required. Everything else is optional. So the key will be basically exactly what we want to name the column name. Basically, we should keep it as simple as that. So we're going to do from AI, the key. So make sure it's inside these quotation marks. Well, and we're just going to simply say name. That's it. We don't need to put a description here. You could if you want, but we don't need to. So I'm just going to copy this. For date, do the same thing. I'm going to change this to date. And just add the column names, and that's the easiest way. And as you know, if you're putting more complicated items, then you can always manipulate this and add more description to it. Number of people. So I'm just going to say, let's just do people. There you go. I like to keep these key values very short. So, if it doesn't work, if you see there's an error, you can always come back and change this. All right, so I think we're good to go here. Let me double check. We are good to go here. Sheet, yep, append row, reservation, sheets. That's good to go. Map each manual column. Yeah, map each column manually, and we're adding that. Perfect. All right, so I think we're good to go now. So let's go ahead and make sure that our response, so respond to Webhook, right? So the webhook, once this is confirmed, the data is being sent. All we're sending back is that the reservation is confirmed. We can, and later in another video, when we build a more complicated tool, which is going to be the next video, I'm going to actually convert or change the data that's coming in from the AI agent and stringify it and basically put it in here so that way it responds back to our voice AI agent. But for now, we're good here. So let's go ahead and save this. I'm going to get rid of this data that's there. Get rid of that. Let's go back. So now we should be able to test this whole thing. And if everything works, we should be able to grab the data here. So let me actually go ahead and come here. refresh this page. This is the same exact table right here. And then I'm going to grab this, get out of this, so that way you can see this whole process unfold. All right, so let's go ahead and test the AI agent. So when you click on test workflow here, and it says it's listening, waiting for you to call the test URL, you have to understand that if no data comes in within I can't remember the exact time, but it does time out. So that's why, if you noticed earlier, as I started talking, then I clicked on this test workflow because I didn't want it to time out. So you can do that. But for now, I'm just going to stop this. We'll have this interaction with this little agent here. And because I want to be able to see that it populates the data on real time and it gets processed. So let's go ahead and click on test agent. I'm going to start to interact with it. And then as soon as it starts to grab that information, I'm going to click on test workflow. So it should be able to grab everything in real time. So let's go ahead and click on test AI agent. Yep, that is good. Yep, that's good to go. All right, so we'll click on that. Call AI.
Hi, I'm Jackie. How can I help you today?
Hi, Jackie. How you doing?
Hi there. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. It's always a pleasure to chat with our customers. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you.
Is there anything I can...
Yeah, I wanted to see if I could make a reservation for tomorrow.
Absolutely. I'd be more than happy to help you make a reservation for tomorrow at Joe's Diner. That's fantastic that you're planning to join us. To get started with your reservation, I'll just need a few details from you. Could you please let me know? 1. How many people will be in your party? 2. What time would you like to dine with us? 3. And lastly, what name should I put the reservation under? Once I have this information, I'll be able to secure your table for tomorrow. Is there anything else you'd like to know about our diner while we're setting this up?
Yeah, I wanted to see what the price of a T-bone steak is.
Certainly. I'd be happy to provide you with that information. According to our menu, the T-bone steak at Joe's Diner is priced at $40. It's a generous 500-gram or about 17.6 ounce cut, which is perfect for those with a hearty appetite. Now, regarding your reservation for tomorrow, would you like to proceed with booking a table?
Yeah.
If so,
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and book the table. So the reservation is going to be under the name of John Smith. And I want the reservation for December 20th at 5 p.m. And then the number of people is going to be 7.
Excellent, John. I'm happy to make that reservation for you right away. Let me use our reservation system to book that for you. Great news, John. Your reservation has been confirmed. To summarize, we have a table for 7 people reserved under the name John Smith for December 20th at 5 p.m. We're looking forward to welcoming you and your party to Joe's Diner. Is there anything else you'd like to know about your visit? Perhaps about our menu specials or any dietary requirements for your group?
Thank you. All right, so you saw that. That's good. Everything went through. Everything came out. One thing about when you saw that little delay when it stopped talking while this was being processed is that has to do a lot with the LLM that you choose. In our case, Claude is really good at this interaction while it's grabbing this information and sending it back via the webhook here. But the problem is that when this gets processed, or when this is being in the process of sending that information and retrieving it back, and while n8n is processing it, it does pause a little bit. But you want to test different LLMs now to be able to see that balance between what interaction or the speed of interaction or how natural it is. And that's why, like I said, we have to test out different large language models to see which one suits best. But the whole goal of this was to showcase that, hey, this is actually able to send information here to a webhook, to an AI agent that can retrieve that information from this from AI function and be able to add that information into our Google Sheet here. Right? So that was the whole point of this, and that's what we achieved from this. So in the next video, we're gonna now make another more complex AI agent here, and I'm gonna make that for my AI agency, AI workshop. So for that, I'm going to add additional tools to this. I'm going to add reservation for booking appointments, so it will have access to calendar, and then a few other things there, and then obviously we'll make the tools complicated as well. Okay, so this was hopefully this gave you a good idea how to attach an AI agent, get some logic, and then attach some tools and interact with the voice agent that's coming back. So build this thing out, make sure you test it out with different LLMs inside this voice agent, which is right here. I mean, like I said, right now I have that, as you can see, Claude 3.5. So again, this is where you can change this to GPT-4 Mini, test out how that feels, the interactions, the lag, all of that. And you can even try the Gemini Flash and all these other ones to be able to see which one works best. But like I said, the whole point was this to understand how it can interact with an AI agent, and that's exactly what we achieved. So on the next one, like I said, I'll build a more complicated one, and go through that step. And then, like I said, as time goes on, I'll build more and more and add more AI agents and more functionality, because there's a lot that we can do with this particular voice AI agent. So one more thing I want to point out is the analysis right here. So you can always add analysis and be able to interact with the history here. So if we click on the left-hand side on our agent here, if we go on conversation history, so this is where you can actually see. So right here, we actually had this conversation. We just had this, right? The conversation, it gives you the summary, so the call status. And if we add those additional parameters here, like the call analysis, and if we're grabbing some data, or if we're instructing this voice agent to grab data, then it will be able to do that here. And as you can see, it provides you this summary. It says the conversation involved customer named John Smith making a dinner reservation at Joe's Diner. The customer initially inquired about the price of T-bone steak, which was correct, and then made the reservation for 7 people on December 20th at 5 p.m. Right? So that's what you can see, the little history here. You have the entire transcript, right? They have access to all of this. And you have the client data as well. The reason why it says no client data is because we didn't identify the client data that it needs to gather. And the way to do that is you would basically go to the analysis section, and here's where the data collection is. So in the upcoming videos, we'll also do that as well. We'll identify some data to gather during this conversation to be able to do analysis with that later on. But anyways, more on that on the upcoming videos. Okay, so now that we built this simple AI agent, now let's go ahead and I'm going to walk you through what a more of a complicated agent looks like. Instead of doing step-by-step, otherwise this video is going to be like an hour and a half long if I do the step-by-step, because there's a lot of steps involved, but it's pretty much the same thing as this one that we talked about. I'm going to give this AI agent, let me actually show you what we're going to build first, or what I'm going to show you what this build is going to look like, and then we can go ahead and walk through step by step here. Let me out of here and bring it here. There you go. So this is what we're going to, I'm going to show you what this build is going to be. Zoom in. Okay, here we go. So same thing. The concept is similar to what we built on this little agent on the other side, so for the Joe's Diner. So this is a bit more complicated, but the steps are pretty much the same. You know, you can just walk through step by step from the previous video. You'll end up in the same space, except a few differences that I'm going to point out. So obviously we're grabbing the webhook. The main AI agent has access to now several tools. Play around with the model, the different model. You can play around with the Anthropic. I'm using Anthropic here. Claude, but you can use GPTs and stuff like that. I've given it a SERP API tool, appointments, normal calendar, Google Calendar, nothing out of the ordinary. Availability, same thing, Google Sheets. So this time this Google Sheets is going to be for grabbing name, email, and phone number of the person, because the whole point of this AI agent and the voice agent is going to be for my AI workshop and the school community. This is going to be a voice agent that's going to be sitting on my website, that's going to provide the customer information about AI workshop agency, the school community, and the school community data is sitting in this vector database here. And let me actually show you that. And that's right here, just a simple, RAG, nothing out of the ordinary. I am downloading a file. This is the AI workshop frequently asked question, just like we put the AI workshop frequently asked, the Joe's Diner frequently asked question. It's going through and grabbing or adding this frequently asked question into PineTool vector database. And from that database, again, I'm just going to utilize this vectors tool, retriever tool from our tools agent here. That's going to retrieve that data that's sitting inside a vector database that we added. Google Sheets. So this is going to be the Google Sheet that's going to add the contact information for the customer that is reaching out to have interactions with our voice AI agent inside the voice AI agent. And I'm going to showcase this in a little bit. Same thing, the process, the same thing, except this user request here that I'm going to talk about. But the information, I'm just sending name, email, phone number, date, and time. And that's coming from the parameter that we'll take a look at in a little bit. Okay. And it just has this additional little not provided, meaning that if the data is not coming in, the user information is going to say not provided. And the request, so this is going to be the main difference that I'm going to talk about here. So let's go ahead and take a look at the system prompt here. System prompt is going to be your customer support AI agent designed to handle various tasks efficiently. Your primary role is to check for available times for appointments, book appointments, grab contact information, and help retrieve information that's requested from the users, right? You have access to multiple tools to help you fulfill the request. Very similar to what we talked about on, or what we put on the previous video, where we went and added this system prompt to give it instruction on when to use that Google Sheets tool to grab that reservation information. In this one, obviously, it has access to more tools. So I said availability, use this tool for checking available times for appointment. And again, we're going to do a demo of this. And then the appointment is going to be use this tool to create the appointment. The vector store tool, this is going to say use this tool to retrieve information about anything related to the school community. So remember that, and I'm going to come back and review this after we change, interact with the voice agent, but I just want to give you a little bit of information beforehand so that we have an idea of what's going on. Google Sheets, I said use this tool to store contacts, user information. Use this tool to store contact users contact. That was wrong. To store users contact information. Actually, I should change this to customers. There you go. Customers contact information. I use this tool for general information to fetch results from Google search. That's not necessary, but again, in case you want to give access to Google search or real-time data to your AI agent, you can do that. I'm saying when a task requires using one or more of these tools, make sure that you identify which tool is most appropriate, pass along the relevant details, and execute execution, blah, blah, blah. Just general, right? I'm saying same thing. Keep your responses concise, short, and relevant. Here's the current date and time formatted. Do not provide any existing meeting details because we want to make sure we protect that data. All right, so we're good to go here. So that's pretty much it. So now let's go ahead and get out of this. Pinecone vector database, again, anything related to school, it should use this. Okay, so that's the main difference here. The respond to webhook. So here's the difference here. So before, the status was just, hey, just say reservation is confirmed. This is a bit more complicated because now we are grabbing that output from the AI agent and we're stringifying it. So let's go ahead, and the reason this is here, and again, this is just, you can just copy and paste this. This is just to stringify and remove any special characters that the AI agent might respond to. So let's go ahead and test this thing out. By the way, you can always, as we test this, there's different ways to do this. Just because I'm doing it this way doesn't necessarily mean that this is the perfect way to do this. You can always add additional nodes like set node to be able to clean that data. And as we build more and more complicated voice agents in the future, I'm going to actually do that. I'm going to try to add more nodes like set nodes in the middle to clean the data. But this is just for demo purposes, so this should be good to go. All right, so let's go ahead and now test take a look at our AI agent inside our ElevenLabs. So let me pull that information up. All right, so here's what this looks like. Okay, so the AI workshop support agent. So let's take a look at the details of what I've put here. So this I've said first message, Jarvis. So I'm going to use Jarvis's voice. Of course, Jarvis is my assistant. So I'm saying, hi, I'm Jarvis. How can I help you today? Same thing. The system prompt, this is a bit more detailed, as you can see, compared to our Joe's Diner prompt that we did. So this one is a bit longer. But the reason why it's a bit longer is because obviously it has access to more tools, right? And I'm saying that you're a support agent named Jarvis. You're very friendly, enthusiastic, and you really want to help the customer get the information, the help they need. Answer in 3 to 7 sentences in most cases. You work at a company called AI Workshop to help customers with anything they need. Zubair is the owner of AI Workshop, AI agency in the AI Workshop school community. So your main goal is to convert the customer visiting the website to either book, a free consultation call with Zubair about how AI agents could automate their business processes, or have the customer join the school community in a very gentle way. Again, play around with the prompt. This doesn't necessarily mean this is the best prompt. This is just for the demo purposes, but you can add or manipulate and change. When you're building this for a customer, when this is a production ready voice agent, of course you want to be able to really test out the system prompt agent, use the n8n architect GPT to really go through and play around with the system prompt to make sure it works perfectly, and that's where the testing phase comes into, right? Okay, so now we did that. I said if the customers ask anything related to school community, use the school wisdom to retrieve this information. This is very important because we're directing this voice agent to use a particular tool for a particular task. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to showcase that we can call a particular tool, and the school wisdom tool that I'm referring to here is right here, which is our webhook that we talked about in the previous video. We went through step by step on how to create that. The school wisdom. So every time there's a mention anything about school, and I'm going to showcase that in a little bit, this voice agent is going to utilize that tool. That tool is connected to our AI agent here. That AI agent is going to retrieve that school information from the vector store tool, because we're specifying that. And, like I said, we'll show that in a little bit, but I just want to point out what's going on here. And then afterwards, so another tool that has access to is the get available slots. So I said, if you determine that the customer is leaning towards booking a free 30-minute consultation call, you can check the availability using the get available slots. The get available slots, actually, let's take a look at the wisdom. I forgot to show this. All right. So this school wisdom tool, again, same thing that we have named it. I said, use this tool to retrieve information about the school community. Okay. Same thing. Post method is this webhook URL. The query parameters. So this is the main difference here. On the previous one, we didn't put a query parameter. We just put body parameters. In this one, we're putting a query because we need to be able to send additional information, because our tools agent in n8n needs to be able to identify what the purpose of this request is, so that way it helps it utilize the proper tool, the appropriate tool. So that's why on top of the body parameters, we're sending a query tool, and we want to make sure the name of this query is going to be the same, or this identifier for this query parameter is going to be same across the different tools here. Okay, so if you can see right here on the wisdom tool, it says data query parameter, data is string type, and identifier is request. If I go to this one, the get available slots, same thing, query parameter, request, right? Same thing, book a meeting, query parameter, request. So they're all the same. And I'm going to point that out why I'm doing that, because you need to be able to send additional information, but for the agent to be able to access and know when to use what information, that query parameter is important. Again, there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat. Maybe this is not the best approach. As I test more and more voice agents, if I see there's a better way to do this, I'll let you guys know. But for now, this is what that query parameter does. So let's take a look at this get available slot, what this does, right? So we said that if you determine that the customer is leaning towards booking a free 30-minute consultation call, then use the get available slots. What's inside the get available slots tool? We're saying that, oh, and by the way, when you're naming a tool that requires multiple words, use the underscore. That's the best way to do this. Description, you have to either obviously describe what this tool is. I'm saying use this tool to check the availability for the requested date and time for the appointment, because the goal of this tool is to check the reservation detail or the appointment details that the customer is requesting. And in my case, for AI Workshop Community Consulting, right? And then I'm giving this the URL, which is our webhook URL for n8n. We don't need to set headers. Again, we'll do that later on when we use authentication. Path parameters, don't worry about that now. Query parameters, again, so this is if you have multiple tools here and you have multiple tools inside your AI agent in n8n, you want to, what I found at least so far, is that it's good to have this query parameter have the same identifier, and you describe what this query is. So I'm saying check available times for the appointment. So at this right here, this query, we're going to send back to n8n, and it needs to have some form of a description because it needs to say what the request, the incoming request is. And when this tool is being used, obviously this is being used to check the available times for the appointments that the customer is requesting. So that's why you have to put that description here. Body parameters, unlike before where we sent a bunch of body parameters, for checking the time slot for this specific tool, we don't need to send any body parameter. And that's why I don't have this name required here, right? Because if you do this, it's going to ask for that name, but for this particular tool, we don't need to do that since we're only checking the available time slots. So that's why I just put this as optional. The reason why I'm doing this is because if you don't put a body parameter, then it's going to give you an error. So just put a sample body parameter. It's not that important for this particular tool. All right, so we're good here. I'm going to save the changes. Let's take a look at our third tool, which is our book meeting. So if we take a look at it here, so after that, right after, so for the prompt for this one is that if someone asks for meeting availability but doesn't specify a date and time, just check for open slots tomorrow, which again is going to be usually the case. So, and I'm saying if someone is checking availability and there are no open slots, keep checking the next day till you find availability. Very simple and easy prompt. So now it says once you have agreed upon a time to meet the customer, of course, you can use the book meeting to book a call. Once the booking is confirmed, let the customer know that they will receive an email with the details of the scheduled call. Very simple when it comes to booking appointments. So it says if you call a book meeting and it fails, try again. It fails in a polite way, suggest to the customer that you're having issues, that they should use the contact form to reach out to customer support. And that's, you want to have a fail in there, fail switch as well. This section right here, I just said if a customer asks for information related to whatever, politely let the customer know that you're researching. So this is something that I put depending on different model. You can play around with this. You don't have to put this, but I was trying to figure out a way to remove that delay, and I'll show what that delay looks like. But this is just an optional thing that you can put. LLM, I'm choosing Claude. We can play around with different models, of course, but book meeting. So this is another tool that's important, right? So this is when the customer is ready to book a meeting, and this is where it's going to have several body parameters. So this tool, it says book meeting, the description, use this tool to book appointment requested by the customer, right? Same thing, very standard. Query parameters, we're sending the same thing, and we're letting the AI agent know that the customer is ready to book a meeting. So this one has body parameters. So I'm saying in a natural way, ask the customer to provide their name, email address, phone number, and the requested date and time for the appointment, right? Because now when the customer is ready to book an appointment, we need to have these required information so we can grab the customer's contact information and their requested date and time of the appointment. Same thing, string is going to be date, description, requested date of the appointment, email of the customer, time, requested time of the appointment, phone number of the customer, and name of the customer, of course, right? So I'm going to click on Save Changes here, click on Save, and we're pretty much done here. All right, great. So now let's go ahead and actually do a demo here. So let me go ahead and open the Google Sheets here. Here's the Google Sheets. Just very simple. It has name, email, phone number. Very simple. And the reason why I'm doing this is because as we're talking to our customer, we want to be able to grab that information and save that information for further processing later on, right? So that's kind of like a standard way to gather information from your customer who is interested in booking an appointment with you for whatever reason. So let's go ahead and minimize this or make this smaller so that way we can interact with this. Okay, so now let's go ahead and do this proper demo here.
Hi, I'm Jarvis. How can I help you today?
Hey Jarvis, I want to see if I can book an appointment for tomorrow at 10 a.m. for a consultation call.
It looks like the time slot at 10 in the morning tomorrow is available. If you'd like to proceed with booking this time for your consultation call, could you please provide me with your name, email, and phone number? This will help me secure your appointment.
Yeah, name is Jack Smith, email is jacksmith@gmail.com, and then phone number is 510-335-5582.
Your consultation call has been successfully booked for December 20th at 10 in the morning. You should receive an email shortly with the details of the scheduled call. Is there anything else I can assist you with today?
Yeah, I wanted to see if you could give me some information about the school community.
The AI Workshop School Community is a vibrant platform for AI enthusiasts and professionals to collaborate, learn, and solve challenges together. It offers continuous learning resources, peer and expert support, live tech support Q&A sessions.
Okay, so you get the idea. It did its job. It actually went ahead and used all 3 different tools when it was booking that appointment. And if you look right here, it gathered the information, the phone number. And if I take a look at my calendar right here, it says meeting with Jack Smith, Friday, December 20th, between 10 and 10:30 a.m., jacksmith@gmail.com, right? So everything worked out exactly as it is. Again, feel free to play around with the prompt, even the query here, if you run into any kind of issues with the different models, and to see which one gives you the best results. And same thing, like I said, you can add additional nodes, and we will keep doing that as we improve these voice agents further down the line. But this hopefully gave you a good idea how to create this, get started. Now you can use this as a base to be able to create more robust AI voice agents. All right, well, hopefully you found this helpful. Like I said, I'm going to keep updating this deep dive series as I build more and more complex voice AI agents, because like I said, voice AI agents are definitely the future. The reason why you're seeing that little lag when it's reaching out to our workflow here is because, unfortunately, that is kind of like the price that you have to pay when you're using a third-party tool and using Webhook. It takes some time. So that's where we're going to keep tinkering to make sure this becomes better and better over time. And we can use different models to reduce that lag time and make that interaction a lot more natural. But this hopefully, like I said, give you a good idea. And in the future videos, we'll build more complex voice agents and try to make this conversation, the speed better, and I've actually have a more of a natural conversation. All right, well, hopefully that was helpful. Now I'm going to show you quickly how you can become a certified voice AI agent partner so that way you can start selling voice AI agents to your potential customers. All right, so this partnership is exclusively with another platform called Retail AI, which is actually way more beginner friendly than ElevenLabs. It is similar, but there's a lot of great features that they have that ElevenLabs doesn't have. So I have an entire course that I will give you all the material you need. So even if you have never touched voice AI agents, or even if you have never heard of Retail AI, you'll be able to see and go through the different sections. Like I said, I have an introduction series. I also have kind of the different Retail 101 regarding functions and everything else you need for you to start building complex production-ready voice agents. I also have step-by-step tutorials, inbound agents, outbound voice AI agents, how to buy phone numbers, how to connect existing phone numbers. And then most importantly, we are exclusive partner with Retail AI, which again is the best voice AI platform in the market. So we do provide certification, which means that once you go through the certification requirements, you will be in the certified partner page on Retail's website. So that way, when you're interacting with your clients, you'll be able to point to this so that way they know what you're talking about. And then afterwards, again, obviously, if you have never built an AI agency, or if you don't know how to interact with clients, we also have a step-by-step AI agency course where we'll get you, it's a daily accountability 5-week program where we'll get you started on how to pick a niche, how to run discovery calls, how to price your services, and everything you need in order for you to start a AI agency or an AI consultancy. Again, we run our own AI agency, AI workshop. So we go through and provide everything from experience, including pricing, proposals, and everything else you need to succeed. So make sure you join the community. I'm going to put the link in the description. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you inside.